Hey, what's up, podcast peeps? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, however, whenever you're listening to this. Just thank you sincerely for listening to Daily Scone. And more importantly, thank you for sharing this with someone who you think might find it interesting. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for rating this. I'm assuming that you're all going to do that just as soon as you finish listening. So thank you sincerely for all of that. I want to tell you a story about something that happened to me in the summer of 1999 and make it relevant for something that happened to me today, and something that I think no matter the industry, but specifically if you're in the media or an industry where you're in any degree a public figure, and that notoriety determines to any degree your level of success, why it's important. Summer of 1999, I was on a trip to Chicago. I was a high school student, I think entering my senior year. And we're at Key Club International Convention. It was in Chicago that summer. Key Club is a service organization for those that don't know. And our group went to a Chicago White Sox game. And the White Sox were playing the Kansas City Royals. And our seats were in the first row of the left field. I say bleachers, but they're obviously chairbacks. But anyway, we're in the first row, and the Royals have a left fielder who, at the time, I hadn't heard of, but his name is Johnny Damon. And, of course, you know Johnny Damon now. But we were, I'm using air quotes, heckling him all game, but it wasn't really ribbing. It was just good-natured fun, and he played along. For example, at one point, I or someone with me might have screamed at Johnny Damon, "Hey, Damon, there's a girl up here that wants to go out with you. Are you interested?" And behind his back, during the game, mind you, he would give like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So to that one, obviously, he's a married guy. He gave a thumbs down. Anyway, the whole game, he's playing along with this. And, you know, he's during warm-up tosses in between innings, I keep asking him if I can have a ball. And he motions to me, you know, after the game, you know, like he actually, before the ninth, he tossed me the ball. So I got the ball, and I was like, "Hey, will you sign it?" He's like, "Come see me at the dugout after the game." So sure, did anyway. Point is, Johnny Damon, I promise there's a point here. Johnny Damon played 18 major league seasons. He played in 2,490 games. That random July game in front of probably 10,000 people in Chicago between two bad baseball teams at the time, the White Sox and the Royals, there's no way that he could have known that day by just having fun and doing a little something, like a tiny gesture, would go 20 years later remembered and mold the opinion that anybody had of him and continues to have of him. Now, the guy came to the Yankees. I hated him in 2004 with the Red Sox. But he came to the Yankees. They won the World Series in 2009, so to a degree, I'll forgive it. But nonetheless, point is, when you are any degree of a public figure, it doesn't matter if you're Johnny Damon, you played 18 major league seasons, and you know you're in celebrity circles and you played for the Yankees and you won world championships, or you're a local radio guy like I am, or whatever. If you're a news anchor, an athlete, it doesn't matter. If you have any degree of a persona as a public figure, how you interact with the people that consume you. I hesitate to use the word fans because it sounds conceited, but how you interact with people, like human beings, not numbers, not fans, not spots and dots, like the human beings that consume your show, like in my case, my show, you know, in Johnny Damon's case, people that actually bought a ticket and came to watch a game. How you interact with those people absolutely matters. It does matter. And it's evidenced by the Johnny Damon story, because I'm telling it 20 years later. 20 years later. And he obviously went on to have a great career. But I'll tell you that because tonight I was able to do something that I love doing. My show ended, and I went over to one of my show sponsors, the Aesthetic Medicine Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. They had an open house that I hosted. They wanted it to be an opportunity for listeners of my show to come to the clinic, to meet the doctors, to meet the staff, to have questions answered. And it's a great opportunity for a client like that because their products and services aren't necessarily mainstream, and there's an education process that has to go along with it, and having people feel comfortable coming in and meeting the doctors and the staff and having questions answered about their services that they offer. And to have me as an endorser and have people that listen to my show, me kind of extend my hand and say, hey, come on, come in and meet these guys. It's great for the client, but the others, and I'll get to that in a second because there's a second lesson here. But specifically, man, I got to meet about 30 people, and they wanted to keep it small for so it would be intimate enough to where everybody could get enough one-on-one time with the doctors and the staff and everything. So they wanted to cap the reservations at 20, but 30 people ended up showing up, which was amazing. It was great. But anyway, the point is, I got to talk to 30 people that listen to my show every day and care enough about the things I have to say to spend time on a Thursday night to leave their family after work, whatever they're doing, to come to the anti-aging clinic to meet me and to meet the doctors just because they heard me talk about it on the show. Now, how far do you think an interaction like that will go? And it's not why you do it. You do it. I'll tell you this much. I do things like that because I love it. I love being able to interact with the people that listen to my show. I love to get to know my audience. I want to know who's listening. I don't want to have a perception in my mind of who might be sitting in their car listening. When I go to an event like that tonight and people who actually come say, hey man, I was listening to you on the radio and so that's why I'm here, and you get to meet these people and talk about what they do professionally and what their family situation is and why they listen and how they listen. I mean, I learned today that a guy who lives in Madisonville, Louisiana, grew up a Mississippi State fan, but lives in Baton Rouge, listens to my show every day, gets in his car at 5, leaves Baton Rouge, drives to Madisonville, here's the entire 5 o'clock hour, and into the 6 o'clock hour. I mean, when you understand examples like that, it helps mold and shape understanding who your audience is and who you talk to. But moreover, each and every person that came tonight, like, now we have a personal connection. My assumption is those people are gonna feel about me and my show the way I feel about Johnny Damon because of what happened back in 1999, that summer game between the White Sox and the Royals. And again, it's not why you do it, but it's a net benefit that you can't ignore. It's so critical to be willing and open and to love to interact with the people that consume your media, whatever it is, because that's how you're able to reach out and touch people and create that connection that will last for years and years and years. And that's how you build your base. It's such an important thing to do. Those 30 people that came tonight, I shook every one of their hands. I talked to every one of them. And because it's something I wanted to do, but also understand, like, whatever those people might have thought of my show or interactions they have with their friends that listen, what do you think they're going to say? Hey, man, he's a good guy. I hope people would say that about me. Anyway, it's so important when you have those opportunities to recognize, go touch the people that consume your media, because they're important. They are your consumer. Like that, those are the people that keep your show or whatever it is you do churning and going, and you can never lose sight of that. The flip side of it is we've all had a bad experience as well. Think about the celebrity you met, whatever degree, who was a jerk to you in the airport, blew you off, wouldn't sign your kid's ball at a game, blew you off in the airport, wouldn't take a picture, told you that to get lost. Like, we've all been there as well, and you never forget that either. But that's one point that I wanted to talk about tonight. Or today, I should say. I guess it depends on when you're listening to this. The other part is understanding the necessity, the importance of going the extra mile for your clients. So it would have been very easy for me today to get off air and just go home and be with my family. But a sponsor, and I don't want to, it's not all about money, and I don't want to mention how much they spend, but understand, like, they make a big investment into me and my show every year. And not only my show, but our station as a whole, because they do other stuff advertising-wise with our station as well. And, too often broadcasters take money from companies to advertise, and they neglect that business. It's basically you only hear from them whenever it's the day of the month when you need to collect a check. But that's not a relationship, and that's not sustainable, and that can build animosity. Like, what works and what's worked for me is developing an open line of communication relationship with that client, so they know that you have their best interest in mind. So I've mentioned this one advertiser in particular. I told the story a few episodes back. If you want, you can go find it. But they were in a bind. They were about to do a print ad. They couldn't find anyone to model exactly the look they wanted. They needed someone to do a shirtless picture, like a swimsuit, like a dad bod swimsuit picture. And they had to publish that ad the next day. They had to present the final ad the next day. It was a Tuesday. This was a Monday. And they were like, will you do it? Absolutely. I came up big for them in that spot, but I was happy to do it because they believe in me. They allow me the honor of the great responsibility of endorsing and representing their brand and their business. Like, that's their livelihood, and they trust me to endorse them. That's a great responsibility. So, of course, I'm going to go do whatever I can to help these people succeed in their business. So they wanted to do an open house. They wanted to try to do an event that could boost business and bring in new clients and give them an opportunity to come in and experience those services. And they probably will create about 20 new residual clients, like weekly residual clients, because of this event tonight. And it costs them nothing more than an evening, put some beer and some wine in a bucket and go get some finger foods and show people their business and have me get behind it. But I was thrilled to do it. And moreover, because I got a text from one of the doctors at the clinic after the event, just said, hey man, just want to thank you so much for coming tonight. You go above and beyond for us. Just really appreciate what you do. And my response was just what I told you. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to represent your business. Whatever I can do, I got your back. Now, think about how that differs, how that relationship differs from business, hires agency, places ad, business and broadcast entity never communicate. They just hope the phone rings. It's a big difference. Who do you think has a better chance of maintaining that business relationship long term? There's a reason why I've been very fortunate to have very little turnover with advertisers over the years, because I'm very careful in the businesses that I choose to endorse, and I work so hard to cultivate those relationships and maintain those relationships. I have a rule. I have a piece of paper on my desk that has a list of everybody I endorse. And my goal is every single week, those people will hear from me. Every week. And you can say, man, that's excessive. Why not once a month or so? I'd ask it to you like this. I had a consultant ask me one time, would you kiss your wife once a month? How would that work? How would that relationship go? You got to keep the lines of communication open, because if that business knows, and also understanding the contrary, how few media members actually do this, how few account executives, once a scheduled buy is placed, actually contact that business owner to see how things are going. If that business owner is hearing from the guy on air every single week to see how things are going, to get updated copy points, what's working, what's not, can we adjust? They know that their ad dollar is valued, and that the person that's endorsing them cares sincerely about the success of their business and this ad campaign. It's all about valuing people and letting them know you appreciate them, and working and going to whatever length you have to make that successful. That's how you retain clients. That's how you end up growing your book of business. And sometimes it means taking a Thursday night and leaving work and going to an event and being there and being present for your client to say, not getting paid to do it, not getting paid at all to do it, but doing it because you know it's going to help them grow their business. And in so doing, it's going to deepen that relationship that you have with the business. And that way they're going to continue that business relationship with you, hopefully for years to come. It's a win-win. The client gains more business, and you get to strengthen that bond and maintain that business relationship with the client, hopefully for years. So again, value your audience. Always take the opportunity, always, to shake a hand, to thank somebody for listening sincerely, or watching you, or reading your columns, or listening to your podcast, whatever it is. Someone ever says it, like, always take the opportunity to thank them. Reply, and even if you're not on air, like, reply to people on Twitter, reply to people on Facebook, reply to people on Instagram. Like, thank them sincerely for commenting, interact with them, let them know that you sincerely care and appreciate them consuming you. That's one. And also, when it comes to your advertisers, show them you care. That's the best way. That is the best way to retain their business. Show them you care sincerely, that you're grateful for the advertising dollars they spend with you, and that you will work your ass off to get them results to help them grow their business. That's how you grow your business in turn. If they have success, you have success. Lessons to learn. If you have questions, as always, or comments, I love to hear them. Please email me, mattmoscona@gmail.com, MattMoscona, mattmoscona@gmail.com. Reply in the comment of this podcast, depending on whatever platform you're listening. We're on iTunes and Google Play Music and Podbean and Stitcher and Spreaker. Wherever you listen to podcasts, Daily Scone is there. So thanks for listening. As always, please, I beg of you, subscribe. Share this. If you know someone in media or who aspires to be in media, who you think this might be relevant to and they might enjoy it, please share this with them. In the meantime, until next time, this has been Daily Scone.